Good evening. I'm Spot On Weather meteorologist Matthew Euler, and we're going to take a look at, I titled this one tonight, The Smallest Details. And the reason I'm going to talk about the smallest details is because even the finest details in the atmosphere can basically make a big difference in the forecast or the sensible weather that you experience here. So I'm going to kind of emphasize those points and how the smallest details really, especially in the long range I'm going to talk about here tonight, can really make a difference, especially when it comes to the weather and mainly focused on the temperatures. All right, so we're going to start off with this weekend, Saturday the 28th of January. And what we have going on is generally some dry northwest wind flow across Southeast Virginia. West, northwest, northwest wind flow. A little bit of snow back to the west of our location in the Appalachian Mountains of West Virginia. But really, if you go all the way across the country, it's looking pretty dry. Got a really strong 1048 millibar high. That's situated over Idaho. Just a lot of cold air funneling down from Canada into the United States. And then in the jet stream, that backs up everything I just mentioned about the surface analysis. You got this nice ridge, upper level ridge with warmer air, which is positioning itself over the Pacific Northwest. And then you got a nice little drop off or a trough, a long wave trough into the central U.S. with more of a westerly wind flow, right just basically to the north of the main jet axis here in Southeast Virginia. So it's going to be colder for sure. Now moving on to Sunday the 29th of January, we do see some scattered snow showers out west of our location. And again, we're pretty cold. We're sitting at about 530 decameter thickness, so temperatures at the surface will be in the 40s. But I want to point out one thing. This particular snow over Tennessee, East Tennessee, and Eastern Kentucky, this is actually going to be associated with an upper air disturbance. And I'll show you a chart to back that up here in a minute. I mentioned this 2 nights ago on my last video. This is something we have to watch really carefully. We have a strong upper level ridge, a nice little ridge over the bumping up into western Canada, over the western United States. You do have this cutoff flow beneath it, but for the most part there's a ridge over the top. And then you have a deepening trough straight from Canada down into the southeastern United States. And sometimes what happens within this flow of the jet stream, you get these little disturbances that form. And they basically will follow the upper level wind pattern and rotate, basically come right around the base of this long wave trough. And at the surface, it could show up as a weak surface low. But pay attention to this area right here, because this is not just mountain snow any longer. This is something affiliated with a disturbance that's going to be making our weather interesting Sunday night into Monday. All right, so Monday at the surface, what we have going on is we have some scattered snow showers actually in the area of Southeast Virginia. Now the system doesn't have a lot of moisture to work with. It's a fairly dry air mass. We have a reinforcing shot of cold air, and then this is a vorticity chart. And again, pay attention to the oranges and the yellow colors. That shows you where the disturbance is. Yellow and red and orange on this scale on the bottom generally means positive vorticity values. And whenever you have positive vorticity values, that's usually where you get air to rise, for clouds to form, and some sort of precipitation to fall out of those clouds. All right, and the stronger the vorticity, the reds and the maroon colors here, the greater the rate of rising air. So what I'm showing you here is snow showers in the area around Southeast Virginia for Monday the 30th, especially in the morning time. This is the overall upper air disturbance denoted by this yellow and orange and red here over the Great Lakes area. That's going to pivot around the base of this shortwave trough. We're looking at a chart here at 18,000 feet. So we look for these little shortwave troughs. They tend to be those upper level energy that we need here at the surface to get some form of precipitation. All right, and then just upper air disturbance, here's my main headline. It may generate light snow Sunday night into Monday morning across Southeast Virginia. Here's that disturbance. Let's go back. This is where it was, and this is about 7 p.m. on Sunday evening. Okay, now watch. This is going to rotate through this shortwave trough, and it's going to become a little more potent as it comes into Southeast Virginia, looking at vorticity values around 30, positive 30. Okay, And so as that rotates through this pattern, the shortwave pattern, this little shortwave is going to roll right through the jet stream level. And it could create enough lift, and we could have enough moisture in place to where we may actually get light snow Sunday night into Monday morning, especially around the Hampton Roads areas. Now, are we expecting anything major right now? No, not really. We just don't see the dynamics necessary to have a big snowstorm by any sort. But again, these things can change, and I cautioned everyone about this 2 nights ago. You get these little disturbances that come in through the long wave pattern. They move through the jet stream, and sometimes they can generate more than you think. So we have to keep a close eye on this because we're still sitting 4 days out from this possibility. Just something to keep in the back of your mind that we may see a few flakes of snow Sunday night into Monday morning. As of right now, maybe a dusting. The ground's very warm, maybe even up to an inch in some locations. But again, it's really preliminary to be talking about specifics at this point. But stay tuned to Spot On Weather for the latest updates. Now, as we move on to Tuesday, the 31st of January, I kind of look at this as almost, basically we're dry again. There is an area of low pressure in the Great Lakes with snow, and there's reinforcing cold that's just waiting in the wings to come southeast towards our area again. This is going to be another wave of cold air that's going to be moving in. But we're right there around average temperatures, actually. Tuesday the 31st, Wednesday the 1st of February will be moderating days. And you notice the pattern? This is your jet stream. This is what the jet stream looked like on Sunday. Now watch how it flattens out. So the main core of the jet axis now is more flat. Still coming from the northwest. There's still a ridge here in Alaska, but we're looking at more of a flat zonal flow at this point in time for the 31st. So that's going to moderate the temperatures. We're not really as cold the 31st of January. We're dry. And then Wednesday, the 1st of February, notice another little area, another upper air disturbance. This could rotate right into our area. This is 7 a.m., by the way, so during the day Wednesday, this could rotate into the area as well and may produce either a mix of rain and snow or some light snow or flurries as it moves through the pattern. But this is the leading edge of another reinforcing shot of cold air that's going to come down from the northwest. Again, we're not expecting any major storms out of this precipitation or moisture. It is limited again. But this just goes to show you by late in the day, we have another strong cold front, Arctic air starting to pour south again into our area. So we're not going to be warm very long, maybe upper 40s to 50 on the 31st, and then we're going to come down again. Now the 2nd of February, Groundhog Day, we have a much colder air mass in place. The thicknesses have crashed now to 528 decameters. The orientation of the cold is really from Canada towards Southeast Virginia, towards the East Coast. And so that pattern, that orientation is going to definitely bring in colder air. But we're dry at that point in time. But again, temperatures highs in the 40s again for Thursday, maybe the middle 40s, lows in the upper 20s to lower 30s. By Friday, not much change in the overall thickness values. There is a little bit of lake effect snow down into the Great Lakes up in Pennsylvania and New York State. But we have these reinforcing shots of cold air. The axis of the cold air runs from western Canada right to Southeast Virginia. Now, I want to talk about this briefly. We could be looking at a major winter storm in the making. And we're looking mainly from the period from 5 to 7 February. Things get interesting as a 1,005 millibar low develops on during the wee hours in the morning on the 5th of February. There's snow overspreading the Midwestern United States, Ohio, Indiana, Illinois, Missouri, back into the plains of Kansas. There's a little bit of rain to the south. Then we have a cold air that's still wedged in here pretty good along the East Coast. And then with time, what happens is the track basically moves northeast and the storm continues to intensify to a 996 millibar low in the vicinity of Washington, D.C. By the wee hours of the 6th, 24 hours later. This is what happens, okay? And so at this point in time, if the storm track does this, more of a northeasterly track, it will bring warm enough air up to where it's mostly rain in Southeast Virginia. But I want to point this out. We're still pretty far out in time, and this stuff can change. For example, if this low were to go further south and then up the coast, we would stay in colder air longer, and there's a chance we could see some snow or some freezing rain or some kind of mix, wintry precip in Southeast Virginia. So it's something we just got to keep a close eye on. But I just want to send out an alert that this is a good possibility of a major storm of some sort between 5 and 7 February. And then just to show you one more chart, the cold is going to continue into early February. It's looking like it's going to be a below normal time period, the first 10 to 14 days of February, the way things look now. This is a reinforcing shot of cold air behind once this storm moves off. Once this storm moves off, we're looking at a reinforcing shot, a 1041 millibar Arctic high situated over the Midwest, northwesterly, north-northwesterly winds into Southeast Virginia, keeping it very cold, below normal again by this point in time. So let's look at the long-range final thoughts. I really wanted to have enough time to talk about this tonight, not rush myself. So first of all, we're going to have a colder weekend in store for Southeastern Virginia this weekend. We're expecting highs in the lower to middle 40s and lows in the upper 20s to lower 30s. The wind chill values will be a factor again. They will remain in the 30s pretty much on Saturday and Sunday. So colder than what we've been used to. We were up almost near 70 degrees today on Wednesday, the 25th of January. So this is going to be a little shock to the system. We are watching an upper air disturbance on Sunday night into Monday morning, as I mentioned, which may produce a period of light snow across the area. It does not appear to be a significant winter event at this time, but we will continue to monitor for strengthening and added moisture to the system. If that happens, then we could get maybe a couple inches of snow Sunday night into Monday, and that definitely could have an impact on your commute Monday morning, going into work or taking your kids to school. So we'll keep an eye on things. Tendency for some of these weather models is that they usually don't add enough moisture initially. So we'll have to see what the trends are like on Thursday, especially Friday, the next 48 hours, to see if any more moisture is added or any strengthening of that little disturbance occurs. We are expecting a brief break from the colder temperatures on 1 February with highs in the upper 40s and near 50 degrees. So we may get up to 50 degrees for a high, 31 January, 1 February timeframe. But then we have this reinforcing cold shot on 2 February. We expect that to last through the 5th of February. And again, just as a heads up, we're watching the possibility for a major winter storm in the mid-Atlantic region sometime between 5 and 7 February. The details, it's too early to really, it's all preliminary right now. Details are not fully known yet. But a more southern track, as I mentioned, could put Southeast Virginia in line for more wintry precipitation as the colder air would stay overhead longer. And remember, just a stronger amplification in the western ridge and the eastern trough in the overall long wave pattern, that's going to lead to a much colder temperature regime for Southeast Virginia if that occurs. And basically over the long range now, we are sitting there on the boundary of the coldest and warmest temperatures, right there on that line. So we'll have to keep a close eye on things, and we will do that here at Spot On Weather. And then the first 2 weeks of February are still trending colder than normal. We still think it's going to be a colder than normal period after this 2-week stretch of very mild temperatures across the area. So again, a lot to look at here in the long range tonight. First of all, with the temperature change this weekend, and then we have the possibility of, this disturbance rotating through the pattern and possibly giving us light snow Sunday night into Monday. So we have to keep an eye on things. Big winter storm possibly in the making between 5 and 7 February, and the cold just persistent into early February. So that wraps up my video tonight. I hope everyone's enjoyed it. Just remember, we're Spot On Weather. If we're not spot on, we're not doing it right. Again, thank you so much for listening and tuning in and subscribing to this channel. More to follow in the coming days on any significant updates or changes to Sunday night and Monday. Have a great Wednesday evening, everyone.